Nobody expected this homeless man to be a hero, but what happens next will leave you speechless. The biting wind whipped through the concrete canyons of downtown, carrying with it the scent of exhaust fumes, stale pizza, and a faint undercurrent of despair. Amidst the towering skyscrapers and the bustling crowds, a lone figure huddled beneath the overpass, seeking refuge from the elements and the indifference of the world. James "Jimmy" Washington, his face weathered by hardship, his eyes reflecting a lifetime of struggles, was a familiar face on the streets, his presence a silent testament to the forgotten souls who navigated the fringes of society. Life had dealt Jimmy a rough hand, a series of misfortunes that had stripped him of his dreams, his family, and his place in the world. He had once been a man of promise, a skilled mechanic with a loving wife and a bright-eyed daughter, their laughter filling his small apartment with warmth and joy. He had worked hard, his calloused hands a testament to his dedication, his paycheck a symbol of his ability to provide for his family. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. A tragic accident, a drunk driver swerving across the center line, had snatched away his wife and daughter, leaving him adrift in a sea of grief and despair. The pain had been unbearable, a crushing weight that had suffocated his joy, extinguished his hope, and left him with a gaping hole in his heart that refused to heal. He had lost his job, his grief making it impossible to focus on the intricate workings of engines and transmissions. He had lost his home, the rent payments piling up, the eviction notice a final blow to his already shattered spirit. He had lost his way, his grief leading him down a path of self-destruction. His solace sought in the numbing embrace of alcohol and the fleeting oblivion of drugs. Now, he navigated the streets with a quiet resilience, his days a cycle of survival, seeking shelter from the elements, scavenging for food, and finding moments of peace in the bustle of the city. He slept under bridges and in abandoned buildings, his battered duffel bag his only companion, its contents a meager collection of necessities and reminders of a life lost. He ate at soup kitchens and shelters, his hunger a constant companion, his meals a reminder of his dependence on the kindness of strangers. He spent his days wandering the streets, observing the world go by, the hurried footsteps of office workers, the carefree laughter of children, the distant sirens echoing through the canyons of concrete and steel, all a stark contrast to his own existence on the margins. He was invisible to most, a shadow blending into the urban landscape, his story untold, his pain unseen. People averted their gaze, their faces etched with a mixture of pity, disgust, and fear, their hurried footsteps a testament to their desire to distance themselves from the harsh realities of poverty and homelessness. But despite his circumstances, despite the hardships he had endured, despite the weight of his grief and the scars of his past, Jimmy held onto a core of dignity and kindness. He had seen the best and worst of humanity, the depths of despair and the heights of compassion. And though cynicism would have been easy, a convenient shield against the harsh realities of his life, he still believed in the power of small acts of goodness, the flicker of humanity that could be found even in the darkest of corners. He would offer a spare blanket to a fellow rough sleeper, his generosity a testament to his empathy for those who shared his struggles. He would share his meager meal with a stray dog, his kindness extending to the creatures who also navigated the fringes of society. He would lend an ear to someone pouring out their troubles, his silence a comforting presence, his occasional words of wisdom a beacon of hope in their darkness. He had learned to find moments of peace amidst the chaos, to appreciate the simple beauty of a sunrise, the comforting warmth of a shared meal, the fleeting connection with another human being. He had learned to survive, to adapt, to find resilience in the face of adversity. He had learned that even in the depths of despair, there was still a spark of humanity within him, a flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. One crisp autumn afternoon, the leaves turning shades of gold and crimson, their descent from the branches a poignant reminder of the cyclical nature of life, Jimmy sought refuge from the biting wind in a small park nestled amidst the towering skyscrapers of downtown. The park, a green oasis in the concrete jungle, offered a momentary respite from the harsh realities of the streets, a place where he could observe the world go by, the rhythm of life a stark contrast to his own existence on the margins. He sat on a weathered bench, its paint chipped and faded, its surface worn smooth by countless hours of use, his gaze fixed on the playground, where children's laughter echoed through the crisp air. Their carefree play a reminder of a life he had once known, a life that now seemed like a distant dream. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the playground, a discordant note in the symphony of laughter and play. A group of older boys, their faces contorted with a mixture of boredom and cruelty, their voices laced with a casual malice that sent shivers down Jimmy's spine, had cornered a smaller boy, their taunts and shoves escalating into a physical assault. The smaller boy, his face streaked with tears, his body cowering under the onslaught, his cries for help lost in the din of the city, was a mirror image of Jimmy's own daughter, her innocence and vulnerability a painful reminder of the life he had lost. The bullies, their laughter echoing cruelly through the park, their actions a display of unchecked aggression and a thirst for power, were a stark contrast to the kindness and compassion that Jimmy still believed in. The onlookers, their faces etched with concern but their bodies frozen by fear or indifference, their inaction a testament to the bystander effect, the diffusion of responsibility that often allowed injustice to prevail, did nothing. They averted their gaze, their footsteps quickening as they distanced themselves from the scene, their silence a tacit approval of the bully's actions. Jimmy, his heart pounding with a familiar anger, a righteous indignation that ignited his protective instincts, couldn't stand idly by. He had witnessed too much injustice in his life, too much suffering, too much apathy. He had learned that silence in the face of cruelty was complicity, that inaction was a betrayal of the very values he held dear. He rose from his bench, his weathered body moving with a surprising agility, his years of navigating the streets honing his reflexes and his awareness of his surroundings. His voice, rough but resonant, boomed through the park, cutting through the laughter and the taunts, commanding attention. "Hey!" he shouted, his voice a thunderclap in the stillness of the afternoon. "Leave that kid alone." The bullies, startled by the interruption, their attention diverted from their victim, turned their attention to Jimmy, their faces contorted with a mixture of surprise and disdain. They sized him up, their eyes assessing his threadbare clothes, his weathered face, his unkempt appearance, their minds dismissing him as just another homeless man, an insignificant obstacle to their amusement. "And who are you, old man?" one of the bullies sneered, his voice dripping with contempt, his words laced with the arrogance of youth and the ignorance of privilege. "Mind your own business." Jimmy, his gaze unwavering, his eyes locking onto the bullies with a quiet intensity that belied his disheveled appearance, his voice firm and resolute, replied, "That's a kid you're messing with. Ain't right. Now back off." The bullies, emboldened by their numbers and their perceived power, their sense of entitlement fueled by their social standing and their lack of empathy, continued their taunts, their words laced with racial slurs and insults, their laughter echoing cruelly through the park, their actions a testament to the darkness that can lurk within the human heart. Jimmy, his anger rising, his memories of his own daughter's innocent laughter flashing through his mind, her joyful spirit a stark contrast to the fear and pain etched on the face of the young boy, stepped forward, his presence a challenge, his voice a warning. "I said back off," he repeated, his tone leaving no room for misinterpretation, his body language conveying a quiet strength and determination that surprised the bullies. The bullies, their bravado faltering, their initial confidence shaken by Jimmy's unexpected defiance, hesitated, their eyes darting between each other, their aggression momentarily checked by Jimmy's unwavering gaze and his resolute stance. They had expected him to cower, to retreat, to disappear back into the shadows of the city. But Jimmy, his protective instincts ignited, his sense of justice awakened, refused to back down. The standoff, a tense tableau of aggression and defiance, was interrupted by the arrival of a police car, its siren wailing, its flashing lights cutting through the tense atmosphere, its presence a symbol of authority and order. The bullies, their courage evaporating, their bravado replaced by a fear of consequences, scattered, their taunts fading into the distance, their laughter replaced by panicked shouts and curses. The police officers, their faces stern and alert, their hands resting on their holsters, their eyes scanning the scene for any lingering threats, approached Jimmy and the smaller boy, their questions sharp and direct, their tone a mixture of suspicion and concern. They had received a call about a disturbance in the park, a report of a possible assault involving a group of teenagers and a homeless man. Their initial assessment of the situation, their eyes drawn to Jimmy's disheveled appearance and his presence in a park known for attracting homeless individuals, fueled their suspicion, their minds already forming assumptions about his role in the disturbance. Jimmy, his voice calm and steady, his demeanor respectful despite the officer's scrutiny, explained the situation, his words painting a clear picture of the bully's aggression and his intervention. He described how he had witnessed the boys harassing the younger child, their taunts and shoves escalating into a physical assault, how he had intervened to protect the child, his voice rising in anger as he recounted the bully's use of racial slurs and insults. The smaller boy, his tears subsiding, his fear replaced by a mixture of gratitude and awe, corroborated Jimmy's account, his voice filled with admiration for the homeless man who had come to his rescue. He described how the bullies had cornered him, their taunts and shoves escalating into punches and kicks, how he had felt trapped and helpless, his cries for help ignored by the surrounding adults. He spoke of Jimmy's arrival, his booming voice cutting through the bully's laughter, his presence a beacon of hope in the midst of his despair. He described how Jimmy had stood up to the bullies, his unwavering gaze and firm voice challenging their aggression, his words a shield against their cruelty. The police officers, their initial suspicion of Jimmy gradually dissipating as they listened to his story and observed his genuine concern for the boy, began to see him in a different light. They saw in him not a threat but a protector, a man who had acted with courage and compassion, a man who had risked his own safety to defend a vulnerable child. They saw in his eyes the pain of his own experiences, the empathy that fueled his actions, the quiet dignity that radiated from his weathered face. They saw in him a reflection of the humanity that often went unnoticed in those who lived on the margins of society, the forgotten souls who carried their own stories of struggle and resilience. They thanked Jimmy for his intervention, their words carrying a newfound respect, their eyes acknowledging his humanity, their voices conveying a gratitude that transcended their initial suspicion. They then turned their attention to the smaller boy, offering him comfort and reassurance, their voices gentle and kind, their presence a source of safety and protection. They took his statement, their questions carefully phrased to avoid re-traumatizing him, their demeanor a blend of professionalism and empathy. They assured him that they would investigate the incident, that they would do everything in their power to ensure that the bullies were held accountable for their actions. As the police car drove away, its siren fading into the distance, its flashing lights a receding beacon of authority and order, the smaller boy, his eyes shining with gratitude, approached Jimmy, his small hand reaching out to shake Jimmy's rough hand, his touch a gesture of connection and appreciation. "Thank you, Mr." he said, his voice filled with sincerity, his words carrying the weight of his gratitude and admiration. "You're my hero." Jimmy, his heart touched by the boy's words, his own pain momentarily forgotten, the warmth of human connection thawing the ice around his heart, smiled. A genuine smile that lit up his weathered face, a smile that reflected the flicker of hope rekindled within him. "Just doing what's right, son," he replied, his voice rough but kind, his words a testament to the values he still held dear, the values that had guided his actions, the values that had led him to intervene, to protect, to be a force for good in a world that had often treated him with indifference and disdain. The boy's words, "You're my hero," echoed in Jimmy's mind long after the boy had left the park, his small figure disappearing into the crowd, his laughter fading into the distance. They were words that sparked a flicker of hope within him, a reminder of the man he once was, the man he could still be, a man who could make a difference in the world, even from the margins of society. The incident with the bullies and the boy's words of gratitude sparked a change within Jimmy, a reawakening of his spirit. a rekindling of the hope that had been extinguished by years of hardship and loss. He realized that his life, despite its challenges, still held meaning and purpose. He could still make a difference, still be a force for good in the world, even from his position on the fringes of society. He decided to turn his life around, to reclaim his dignity, to find a way to contribute to society, to be a positive influence on those around him. He would no longer allow himself to be defined by his circumstances, by the labels that society had placed upon him. He would rise above the stereotypes, the prejudices, the indifference that had marginalized him for so long. He started small, focusing on the things he could control, the small acts of self-care and self-respect that could pave the way for a larger transformation. He cleaned up his makeshift shelter under the overpass, organizing his belongings, discarding the remnants of his past struggles, the empty bottles and discarded paraphernalia that had symbolized his descent into despair. He took pride in his appearance, washing his clothes in the public restrooms, shaving his beard, and combing his hair. He stood a little straighter, his shoulders squared, his gaze no longer downcast but meeting the eyes of those he encountered with a newfound confidence and dignity. He began volunteering at a local soup kitchen, his mechanical skills, once a source of pride and livelihood, now put to use repairing broken appliances and maintaining the kitchen equipment. He fixed leaky faucets, repaired broken ovens, and restored the old refrigerator to its former glory, his hands finding a familiar rhythm in the tasks, his mind finding solace in the familiar routines. He interacted with the other volunteers, their kindness and compassion a welcome contrast to the indifference he had grown accustomed to. He shared his skills, his knowledge, and his experiences, his contributions valued and appreciated. He found a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, a sense of community in the shared mission of providing nourishment and support to those in need. He also started attending meetings at a nearby community center, seeking guidance and resources to help him get back on his feet. He learned about job training programs, his interest in mechanics rekindled, his desire to regain his independence and provide for himself renewed. He learned about housing assistance programs, his dream of having a place to call his own, a sanctuary from the streets, rekindled. He learned about mental health services, his willingness to confront his past traumas, his grief, and his addiction, a testament to his newfound determination to heal and rebuild his life. He attended counseling sessions, his voice finding release in the safe space of the therapist's office, his pain finding expression in the shared stories and tears. The consequences of his decision to turn his life around were both challenging and rewarding, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of hope and determination. He faced setbacks, moments of doubt and despair, the weight of his past struggles threatening to pull him back into the darkness. The cravings for alcohol and drugs returned, his old habits whispering temptations in his ear, his mind replaying the memories of his lost family, the pain threatening to consume him. But he persevered, his newfound purpose fueling his resilience, his connection to the community offering him support and encouragement. He found strength in the kindness of the volunteers at the soup kitchen, the guidance of the social worker at the community center, the camaraderie of his fellow mechanics at the garage. He found a job as a mechanic at a local garage, his skills rusty but his work ethic impeccable. He approached his work with dedication and diligence, his hands regaining their familiar dexterity, his mind finding focus and clarity in the tasks at hand. He earned a modest income, enough to rent a small apartment, a place to call his own, a sanctuary from the streets, a place where he could finally rest his weary soul. He reconnected with his faith, finding solace and strength in the community of his local church. He attended Sunday services, the hymns and prayers filling him with a sense of peace and hope, the sermons offering guidance and inspiration. He joined a Bible study group, his faith deepening through shared discussions and reflections on the scriptures. He joined a support group for those who had lost loved ones, sharing his grief and finding comfort in the shared experiences of others. He listened to their stories, their pain echoing his own, their resilience inspiring him to keep moving forward. He shared his story, his voice trembling at times, his tears a testament to the depth of his loss, his vulnerability a source of connection and healing. He began to heal, his wounds slowly mending, his spirit regaining its strength, his life taking on a new meaning and purpose. He had found a way to rise from the ashes of his past, to reclaim his dignity, and to contribute to the world around him. He had found a way to honor the memory of his family, to keep their love alive in his heart, to live a life that would make them proud. While Jimmy was rebuilding his life, brick by brick, finding solace in community and purpose in helping others, a parallel narrative was unfolding in the city, a narrative that would intersect with his own and amplify his impact on the world. A series of articles in the local newspaper, penned by a young and passionate journalist named Sarah Jenkins, brought the issue of homelessness to the forefront of public consciousness. Sarah, driven by a deep sense of social justice and a desire to give voice to the voiceless, had spent months immersing herself in the world of the homeless, interviewing individuals living on the streets, volunteering at shelters and soup kitchens, and researching the complex social and economic factors that contributed to the growing crisis. Her articles, published with stark photographs and compelling narratives, painted a vivid picture of the challenges faced by those living on the margins of society. She wrote about the lack of affordable housing, the inadequate mental health services, the systemic inequalities that perpetuated poverty and homelessness. She shared the stories of individuals she had met, their struggles, their resilience, their hopes and dreams. Her articles sparked a public debate about the city's responsibility to address the issue, the need for more comprehensive solutions, and the importance of compassion and understanding in dealing with the homeless population. The articles challenged stereotypes, humanized the homeless, and ignited a sense of urgency in the community. Readers wrote letters to the editor, expressing their concern and demanding action. Community organizations organized rallies and protests, their voices echoing through the city streets, their banners calling for change. Politicians debated the issue, their speeches filled with promises and platitudes, their actions often falling short of their rhetoric. Jimmy, his own experiences giving him a unique perspective on the issue, his voice now carrying the weight of authenticity and lived experience, became involved in the public discourse. He shared his story at community meetings, his words a powerful testament to the human cost of homelessness, his voice challenging stereotypes and advocating for more compassionate and effective solutions. He spoke of the challenges he had faced, the loss, the grief, the despair that had led him to the streets. He spoke of the kindness of strangers, the support he had received from the community, the hope he had found in his journey towards recovery. He challenged the city council to take action, to increase funding for shelters and affordable housing, to expand mental health services, and to create job training programs that would empower individuals to rebuild their lives. He spoke with passion and conviction, his words resonating with those who had experienced similar struggles, his story inspiring others to take action and demand change. He became an advocate for the homeless community, his voice resonating with those who had experienced similar struggles, his story inspiring others to take action and demand change. He worked with local organizations to provide support services, to advocate for policy changes, and to raise awareness about the complexities of homelessness. He shared his experiences with policymakers, his insights informing their decisions, his voice a powerful reminder of the human cost of inaction. He collaborated with community leaders, his passion for change igniting their own commitment to finding solutions. He became a symbol of hope, his story a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of community. This secondary plot development served to highlight the broader social context of Jimmy's story, the systemic issues that contribute to homelessness, and the importance of individual and collective action to address the problem. It also showcased Jimmy's transformation from a victim of circumstance to an agent of change, his voice a powerful force for compassion and justice. As Jimmy became more involved in the community, his world expanding beyond the confines of his past struggles, he formed meaningful connections with the people he encountered, his heart opening to the possibility of friendship, mentorship, and even love. He developed a close friendship with the pastor of his church, a man of unwavering faith and compassion who offered Jimmy guidance and support on his journey towards healing and redemption. The pastor, a man with a warm smile and a gentle spirit, saw in Jimmy a kindred soul, a man who had faced adversity with courage and dignity, a man who was seeking a path towards redemption. He offered Jimmy spiritual guidance, his words of wisdom and encouragement offering solace and direction. He invited Jimmy to join the church community, his presence welcomed with open arms, his contributions valued and appreciated. He shared his meals with Jimmy, his home a place of warmth and hospitality, his family a source of support and friendship. He also found a mentor in the garage owner, a gruff but kind man who saw potential in Jimmy and offered him a chance to rebuild his career. The garage owner, a man with grease-stained hands and a heart of gold, recognized Jimmy's skills as a mechanic, his passion for the intricate workings of engines and transmissions, his dedication to his craft. He offered Jimmy a job, a chance to regain his independence, to earn a living, to contribute his skills to the community. He shared his knowledge and experience with Jimmy, guiding him through the intricacies of auto repair, offering him a sense of purpose and belonging. He became a father figure to Jimmy, his gruff exterior masking a deep affection and respect for the man who had overcome so much. Jimmy also developed a close bond with the social worker at the community center, a woman who admired his resilience and his determination to turn his life around. She saw in him a man who had faced unimaginable loss, a man who had stumbled and fallen but who had found the strength to rise again. She helped him navigate the complexities of the social service system, connecting him with resources and support programs, guiding him through the maze of paperwork and bureaucracy. She offered him encouragement and guidance on his journey, her belief in his potential a constant source of motivation. These relationships, built on mutual respect, trust, and shared values, provided Jimmy with the support system he needed to rebuild his life. He found in these individuals a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and a renewed faith in humanity. He realized that he was not alone in his struggles, that there were others who cared, who wanted to help him succeed, who believed in his potential for redemption and renewal. He also reconnected with his daughter's best friend, Maria, a woman who had grown up alongside his daughter and had shared a special bond with her. Maria, now a teacher, her heart filled with compassion and a deep understanding of the human spirit, was shocked and saddened to learn of Jimmy's circumstances, the tragic loss he had endured, the path that had led him to the streets. But she was also inspired by his resilience and his determination to make a difference, his newfound purpose in advocating for the homeless, his commitment to helping others find their way back from the brink. She saw in him a reflection of the man her best friend had loved, the man who had once filled their lives with laughter and joy. She became a source of comfort and support for Jimmy, sharing memories of his daughter, her stories painting a vivid picture of the vibrant young girl who had captured their hearts. She offered him a connection to his past, a reminder of the love and joy that had once filled his life, a bridge between the darkness he had endured and the hope he was now embracing. Their relationship, a blend of shared grief and a celebration of his daughter's memory, helped Jimmy to heal from the wounds of his past and to embrace the possibility of a future filled with hope and connection. He found in Maria a kindred spirit, a friend who understood his pain, a woman who shared his love for his daughter, a woman who saw in him the potential for redemption and renewal. The city council, spurred by the public debate on homelessness and the growing pressure from advocacy groups, organized a town hall meeting to address the issue, to bring together the diverse voices of the community, to hear their concerns, and to explore potential solutions to the growing crisis. The meeting, held in the grand auditorium of the City Hall, its high ceilings and ornate decor a stark contrast to the makeshift shelters and soup kitchens that had become synonymous with the plight of the homeless, was attended by a diverse crowd of residents, business owners, community leaders, and homeless individuals, their presence a testament to the urgency and complexity of the issue. Jimmy, his voice now a symbol of the struggles and resilience of the homeless community, his story a powerful reminder of the human cost of inaction, was invited to speak at the meeting, his presence on the stage a testament to his transformation from a forgotten soul on the margins to a respected advocate for change. He stood before the crowd, his weathered face illuminated by the stage lights, his eyes reflecting a mixture of apprehension and determination, his voice resonating with a quiet dignity that commanded attention. He had never spoken before such a large audience, his usual interactions limited to the hushed conversations of the streets and the shared stories of the support group. But he had found his voice, a voice that carried the weight of his experiences, the pain of his loss, the resilience of his spirit. He shared his story, his words painting a vivid picture of the challenges faced by those living on the streets, the hunger that gnawed at their bellies, the cold that seeped into their bones, the fear that haunted their dreams, the constant struggle for survival that consumed their every waking moment. He spoke of the loss he had endured, the grief that had consumed him, the despair that had led him to the streets, the darkness that had threatened to extinguish his spirit. He spoke of the kindness of strangers, the support he had received from the community, the hope he had found in his journey towards recovery, the light that had guided him back from the brink. He challenged the city council to take action, to move beyond the rhetoric and the platitudes, to implement concrete solutions that would address the root causes of homelessness and provide support and opportunities for those struggling to rebuild their lives. He called for increased funding for shelters and affordable housing, for expanded mental health services, for job training programs that would empower individuals to regain their independence and contribute to society. He spoke with passion and conviction, his words resonating with the audience, his story touching their hearts, his call to action inspiring a sense of shared responsibility and a collective determination to make a difference. The audience, their faces reflecting a mixture of empathy, admiration, and a newfound awareness of the complexities of homelessness, listened intently, their silence punctuated by nods of agreement and murmurs of support. His speech, a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of community, brought tears to the eyes of many in the audience. It was a speech that transcended the usual political discourse, a speech that spoke to the shared humanity that connected them all, regardless of their social standing or their life experiences. As Jimmy concluded his speech, the auditorium erupted in thunderous applause, the audience rising to their feet in a standing ovation. Their cheers and applause a testament to the power of his words, the impact of his story, the inspiration he had ignited within them. It was a moment of unity, a moment of shared purpose, a moment that marked a turning point in the city's approach to addressing homelessness. The town hall meeting served as a catalyst for change, a turning point in the city's approach to addressing homelessness. The city council, moved by Jimmy's story and the public outcry for more compassionate and effective solutions, implemented a series of initiatives aimed at providing support and resources to the homeless population. They increased funding for shelters and transitional housing programs, recognizing the need for safe and supportive environments for those living on the streets. They expanded mental health services, acknowledging the complex interplay of mental health challenges, trauma, and addiction that often contributed to homelessness. They created job training programs, providing individuals with the skills and opportunities they needed to re-enter the workforce and regain their independence. They also partnered with community organizations, recognizing the valuable expertise and resources that these organizations brought to the table. They collaborated with shelters, soup kitchens, and advocacy groups, their shared goal to create a comprehensive support system for the homeless population. Jimmy, his voice now a respected presence in the community, his insights valued by those in power, continued to advocate for the homeless, his experiences and knowledge guiding the city's efforts to address the issue. He worked with social workers, sharing his firsthand knowledge of the challenges faced by those living on the streets, his insights informing their outreach strategies and support programs. He worked with community leaders, his passion for change igniting their own commitment to finding solutions, his collaborative spirit fostering a sense of shared responsibility and collective action. He worked with city officials, his voice a powerful reminder of the human cost of inaction, his presence at meetings and conferences a testament to the importance of including the voices of those most affected by the issue. He also continued to volunteer at the soup kitchen and the community center, his presence a source of inspiration and support for those struggling with homelessness. He shared his story, offering hope and encouragement, his own transformation a testament to the possibility of redemption and renewal. He listened to their stories, offering empathy and understanding, his presence a reminder that they were not alone, that there were others who cared, who believed in their potential for change. The city's efforts to address homelessness were not without their challenges. There were disagreements about the best approach, some advocating for a focus on temporary shelters and emergency services, others arguing for a more comprehensive approach that addressed the root causes of homelessness, such as poverty, lack of affordable housing, and inadequate mental health services. There were concerns about the cost of programs, the allocation of resources, and the potential impact on the city's budget. Some residents expressed concerns about the increased visibility of homelessness, their fears fueled by stereotypes and misconceptions about the homeless population. But through open dialogue, collaboration, and a shared commitment to finding solutions, the city made significant progress in addressing the issue. The number of people living on the streets decreased, more individuals found stable housing and employment, and the community developed a greater understanding and compassion for those struggling with homelessness. The city's efforts were not just about providing services and resources. They were also about changing attitudes, challenging stereotypes, and fostering a more inclusive and compassionate community. Jimmy's story, his transformation from a homeless man to an advocate for change, played a crucial role in this transformation. His voice a powerful reminder of the shared humanity that connected them all. The town hall meeting and the city's subsequent efforts to address homelessness marked a turning point in Jimmy's life, a shift in his focus and a deepening of his commitment to social justice and community engagement. He had found a new purpose, a new direction, a new sense of belonging in his role as an advocate for the homeless community. He realized that his experiences, his struggles, and his triumphs could be a source of inspiration and hope for others. He embraced his role as a community leader, his voice a powerful force for change, his actions a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. He had found a way to channel his pain and his experiences into a force for good, his story a beacon of hope for those who felt lost and forgotten. He continued to work as a mechanic, his skills providing him with a sense of purpose and a means to support himself. He took pride in his work, his hands restoring broken engines to life, his expertise contributing to the smooth functioning of the city's transportation system. But his true passion now lay in his advocacy work, his dedication to helping others find their way out of homelessness and reclaim their lives. He became a mentor, a counselor, and a friend to those struggling on the streets, his empathy and understanding guiding them towards a better future. He shared his story, his struggles, and his triumphs, offering hope and inspiration to those who felt lost and alone. He listened to their stories, offering a non-judgmental ear and a compassionate heart. He connected them with resources, guiding them through the maze of social services, helping them to navigate the complexities of finding shelter, food, and support. He encouraged them to seek treatment for their addictions, to address their mental health challenges, to find the strength within themselves to rebuild their lives. He became a familiar face at the shelters and soup kitchens, his presence a source of comfort and encouragement. He organized support groups, creating a space for the homeless to share their stories, their struggles, and their hopes. He advocated for their rights, his voice ringing out in city council meetings, his words challenging the stereotypes and prejudices that perpetuated homelessness. He had found a new calling, a new way to contribute to the world, a new way to honor the memory of his family and the life they had shared. He had found a way to transform his pain into purpose, his loss into a legacy of compassion and service. He also continued his personal growth, attending therapy sessions, working through his grief and trauma, and developing healthy coping mechanisms. He reconnected with his faith, finding solace and strength in the community of his church, his spirituality a source of guidance and inspiration. He nurtured his friendships, his connections with the pastor, the garage owner, and the social worker deepening, their support and encouragement a constant source of strength. He maintained his connection with Maria, their shared memories of his daughter a bond that transcended the boundaries of grief and loss, their friendship a testament to the enduring power of love and connection. He had found a new balance in his life, a balance between his work, his advocacy, his personal relationships, and his own well-being. He had discovered that true fulfillment lay not just in helping others, but also in taking care of himself, in nurturing his own spirit, in finding joy and meaning in the everyday moments of his life. Jimmy's journey from a grieving widower lost in despair to a compassionate advocate for the homeless was a testament to his resilience, his strength, and his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. He had faced adversity with courage and dignity, emerging from the depths of despair to find a new purpose and a renewed sense of hope. He had learned the importance of community, the power of human connection to heal and inspire. He had discovered that even in the darkest of times, there are those who care, who offer support, who believe in the possibility of redemption and renewal. He had learned that he was not alone in his struggles, that there were others who had walked a similar path, who understood his pain, who offered him a hand up when he needed it most. Reflecting on his journey, Jimmy recognized the transformative power of compassion, both the compassion he had received from others and the compassion he had extended to those in need. He had learned that even small acts of kindness can make a big difference, that every human life has value, and that everyone deserves a chance to find their way back from the brink. He had experienced the power of compassion firsthand, the way it had lifted him from the depths of despair, the way it had given him the strength to rebuild his life. He had seen the impact of his own compassion on others, the way it had inspired hope and encouraged change, the way it had created a ripple effect of kindness and generosity in the community. He had also learned the importance of forgiveness, of letting go of the anger and bitterness that had consumed him, of embracing the possibility of healing and moving forward. He had forgiven himself for his past mistakes, for the choices that had led him to the streets, for the pain he had inflicted on himself and others. He had learned that forgiveness was not about condoning his actions, but about releasing the burden of guilt and shame, allowing himself to heal and move forward with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. He had also learned the importance of self-care, of taking care of his physical and mental health, of nurturing his spirit and finding joy in the everyday moments of his life. He had learned to appreciate the simple things, the warmth of a bed, the taste of a hot meal, the beauty of a sunrise, the companionship of a friend. He had learned to find peace in the quiet moments, to meditate, to pray, to connect with his spirituality and find solace in his faith. He had learned to take care of his body, to eat healthy foods, to exercise, to get enough sleep, to nurture his physical well-being as a foundation for his emotional and spiritual health. He had learned to find joy in his work, in the satisfaction of using his skills to help others, in the camaraderie of his colleagues, in the sense of purpose that came from contributing to the community. He had learned to find joy in his relationships, in the love and support of his friends, in the shared memories of his daughter, in the connection he felt to the people he was helping. He had found a new sense of peace, a quiet acceptance of his past, and a hopeful vision for the future. He had discovered that true strength lies not in denying our vulnerability but in embracing it, not in isolating ourselves from others but in connecting with them, not in seeking revenge but in offering compassion and forgiveness. He had learned that true happiness lies not in material possessions or social status but in the richness of human connection, in the pursuit of a meaningful life, in the service to others, and in the unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. Jimmy's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of compassion and community. It highlights the importance of reaching out to those in need, of offering support and encouragement, and of believing in the possibility of redemption and renewal. His journey reminds us that even in the face of adversity and loss, we can find hope and healing in human connection and the pursuit of a greater purpose. It encourages us to embrace our shared humanity, to recognize the value of every individual, and to work towards a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Jimmy's story is an inspiration to us all, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, we can find the light within ourselves and within others. It is a story that celebrates the power of compassion to heal, to transform, and to inspire us all to make a positive difference in the world. It is a story that challenges us to look beyond the stereotypes and prejudices that often define our perceptions of the homeless, to see the human beings behind the labels, to recognize their struggles, their resilience, and their potential for change. It is a story that reminds us that homelessness is not just an individual problem but a societal issue, a reflection of the systemic inequalities and injustices that perpetuate poverty and marginalization. It is a story that calls us to action, to advocate for change, to support those who are working to address the root causes of homelessness, and to create a society where everyone has access to safe, affordable housing and the support they need to thrive. Jimmy's story is a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss and despair, the human spirit can find the strength to heal, to grow, and to make a positive impact on the world. It is a story that celebrates the transformative power of human connection, the importance of community, and the enduring belief in the possibility of a better future. It is a story that inspires us to embrace our shared humanity, to reach out to those in need, to offer compassion and support, and to work together to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a life of dignity, purpose, and belonging.